located at 4 Chestnut Street, Exeter, New Hampshire. And we'd like to start with our members, but I'll first make a couple of comments. Town planner Dave Sharbles is working with the budget committee right now, and he'll join us when he's able. So we are able to go and proceed. We have certainly more than a quorum. The whole board here this evening are all appointees, and they'll introduce themselves. A little different situation. We don't have a microphone here, but when people want to speak or present, I ask you to step to the podium over there, please. And we're displaying things here, which means we'll have to turn, which is not as easy as it is in the other place, because these chairs don't swivel. But there is one microphone on the camera over there, and with all of our meetings, this one is also recorded. So please maybe be a little bolder with your voice than normal, so we can all hear, and our friends and neighbors at home can hear. Thank you very much. So I'm Langdon Plummer. I'm chairman of the planning board, and to my left is
Aaron Brown, vice chair.
And
John Gruder.
Gwen English.
And my right,
Pete Cameron.
and your position?
Oh, clerk.
Thank you. Moving.
And Nancy Belanger, select board representative.
And Jen Martell.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody. We first have minutes of November 2nd, which was our last meeting. So we can give these floors open to any suggestions, corrections. Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I move that we table these because I have a significant question with respect to them, and I don't think I want to take up tonight's meeting time here with a relatively full agenda that we have. So I'm going to move to table.
All right. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Those in favor, please. Voice vote.
Aye. Thank you.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, first item is the application of Granite State Construction Services LLC for a lot line adjustment between the properties at 12 Little River Road and 12A Little River Road, and a site plan review for proposed single-family open space development on the property located at 12 River Road, formerly Calvary Baptist Church. The subject property is located in the R2 single-family residential zoning district, and tax map parcels number 62-90 and number 62-90-1, and is planning board case number 23-15. I believe that this case is ready to be heard, so I'll ask for motion to open this case.
I will so move.
Thank you, Pete. Moved and seconded. Voice vote. Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you. David has some notes here for us. I don't know if anybody wishes to review those, or we can go right ahead. We've read them before anyway, so and I know Christian will give us a little bit of a sketch of what this is all about.
Absolutely.
So the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the board members, my name is Christian Smith, engineer with Beals Associates, representing Granite State Construction on the application tonight. Sam McCarker of Granite State is in the audience with us, as well as Tyler Peters and Olivia Michaud, and they own the parcel 90-1. So this is just the existing conditions, and I think you folks, or those of you that were on the board at the time, recall the subdivision that was done. This was the former rectory building for the church, and that has been rehabbed and purchased by Mr. Tylers and Ms. Michaud. That is just to get your reference on the parcel. The lot line adjustment that we're proposing just changes this line to this line, creates a 5-acre parcel on what is formerly the church parcel, or lot 90. That's a pretty simple request. And into the condominium site plan, I don't think we really need to look at that too much, because that is just really for recording purposes. And I will briefly go over our yield plan. So this contemplates utilizing the existing access easement that was created as part of the original subdivision, and then creating out of that a 50-foot right-of-way with the correct and legal geometry within the town ordinances. And you can see we show all of the setbacks, the proposed lot lines, lot sizes, frontage, all conform with the R2 zone, and this property being served by water and sewer. And again, as is typical, we show the 25 by 25 foot potential building units on that. Does anybody have any questions on the yield at this point? I'll move right on if not. Everybody good?
No? We'll come back to it, I'm sure, but
That's perfectly fine. Trying to be brief, I know you have a long agenda.
that's okay.
Just the demolition plan, nothing of real significance or interest there. Aside from there are 2 trees that meet the criteria that will have to come down. These are both actually insect infested and dead or dying. But those are the only 2, and they're 24-inch pines. Those will have to be removed for the proposed construction. And then we move on to the site plan, which depicts, and I think you all probably know as well, Dave probably mentioned this in his memo, we have been through 2 cycles of TRC hearings, and a number of things came out of that. We have worked with the fire department to get the hydrant exactly where they want it and figure out the geometry of their turnaround so that they are now comfortable with how the fire trucks can get in and out of here. We originally proposed a gravity sewer. DPW was not thrilled with that simply because this manhole only has about 3 feet of cover, just shy of 3 feet of cover, and to the top of the pipe. So instead, we went with the low pressure E1 sewer systems. And if you look at the end of the plans, we have details for the option, and the developer can either put those in the house on the slab, or they have exterior units where the entire package pump station goes out in your front yard. So that is now, this is just a clean out area for that. Everything is tied into the force main from the E1s. Everything gravities into those pump stations. The water main is being upgraded as well. You can see that here. And these are fairly large building envelopes. And all we were trying to do is just show basically the maximum of what could be done out here for the most part with regard to those. And based on the conventional yield plan, he is limited to 5. So one thing that I will bring up is one of the waiver requests that we do have before you tonight is for encroachment into the 50-foot building setback. And you can see this is actually devoid of vegetation all back here along these abutters property lines. We have proposed some very some very dense plantings within that. And what I tried to do, because this is a very similar project, is I tried to follow the landscape plantings that we had gotten approved over on Tamarind Lane, which was it's a very similar project, single-family detached condos on a private drive. We came through a number of things. The no-cut buffer is going to have to be placed with placards every 50 feet out behind the homes. And so I think that this planting scheme is going to be very beneficial to the abutters that have their frontage on Penn Lane, and one of the reasons that we requested the waiver to be able to put the buildings inside there. And again, these buildings may not be this big, but we just wanted to demonstrate that they could be. This is just the plan and profile. So what the second waiver, and I can get to that here, is for a complete drainage analysis. So we are reducing the overall impervious on this property by 34%, I believe. It goes from 30,000 and some change down to 21,000 and some change impervious area. So a drainage analysis really isn't going to tell you anything, because obviously we're going to have more vegetated cover. We're not shortening the time of concentration distances. So there is going to show a reduction and a volumetric reduction in every storm. But to further bolster the request for the full drainage analysis, we've required that all the buildings will have in the rear and on the sides 2 foot deep by 3 foot wide stone drip edges. We've got details for those on another page, and then in working through comments from the town's reviewing engineer consultant, Underwood, we have also added these swales, which are bioretention swales, so they've got the bioretention media, and essentially those will collect the lion's share of the road runoff. And I submitted with this round of, or the second iteration of plans after the second TRC, the DES alteration of terrain pollutant removal efficiencies, and basically the stone trenches around the buildings actually match the requirements for nutrient reduction in the stormwater, aside from, I think it's total nitrogen, and it reduces it by 55%, where I think 60 is required in the ordinance. And both of these little swale areas and infiltration areas, those actually meet all of the criteria. So we're actually treating the bulk of the impervious area out here, and that is...
And for clarity, you're reducing what's there today, the church and total parking lot.
Correct.
So this is okay.
Yeah, far less.
Yep.
Yeah, like almost a
Thank you.
third. And then we're into details. So I guess with that, I will entertain any questions that the board may have.
Okay, I think we probably should, we got a couple things here. I think we should probably deal with the lot line adjustment first. See if there's what our thoughts are, any questions we may have for Christian about that. It seems fairly straightforward. Thoughts, questions?
I have a question
Yes.
about the lot line adjustment, because I think you went over a lot of stuff really fast in the
Yes.
beginning. Can you just review one more time the lot line adjustment that we did before and then the one that we did now?
The initial one was actually a subdivision. And Mr. McCarker had to go through the zoning board of adjustment to get a variance for the frontage. Because that is the only frontage that this parcel has and has had for as far as I can recall. So this was entirely one parcel. That frontage variance was granted by the zoning board of adjustment back in 2021. And basically, Jen, the original line is that. Follows, so from here it doesn't change, or to this point it doesn't change, and then the lot line to be abandoned chases in that fashion. The proposed lot line adjustment now is these two proposed lines.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Aaron?
I didn't know if you want to hear from the public on that.
No, okay. Well, while we're thinking about that, let me open this to the public. Anybody have any concerns about this lot line adjustment? That's all we're talking about at the moment. If so, please step to the microphone. Yeah, microphone, excuse me. To the podium.
I'll get out of the way.
Speak loud so everybody can hear us. So, and introduce yourself so everybody knows who's speaking. If anybody would like to speak, please step forward. Seeing none, then I'll close the public portion of the meeting, of this part of the meeting, and come back to the board. Questions, comments, concerns?
I have a few
Okay,
more clarifying
please.
questions, if you don't mind, while other people
Go right
are
ahead,
thinking.
Jen.
Okay, so there were several architectural plans for different, like, spec houses, I guess, included in our packet.
Yes.
Is that kind of, like, you're kind of putting boxes on the plans, like, oh, we don't really know what it is, but then we have these very detailed plans. Are these the houses that are being proposed?
Yeah, Sam, come on up. I will let Mr. McCarker address that.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, building on, it's a style of home that's going to be there without getting through this entire process, meeting the setbacks, and not knowing what's going to be allowed. I can't take a box and force it on the land. I'm trying to work with the land. Like in the back here, this topography, it's pretty much flat, but do these lend themselves to a garage under? What I'm trying not to do is build a box, go straight up, 35 feet within, the planning board requirements and do these more as a front load in keeping with the neighborhood, so they're in the 20-something range. So what I did was, because you have to submit something in the application, these are gonna be 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage homes.
Okay.
And right now, the boxes look a little bit bigger, because if I do the front load, where I pull these 2 back for that one request, it pulls these 2 a little bit further away from the wetland setback in here. And it also makes the driveway safer when you're backing up and coming out onto this private drive. So it's just something in that style that we want to put in there. And then the final houses will be 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. So it'll be similar, but just a little bit different, just so they're in keeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any thoughts about the lot line? Now, I don't know if Dave had a motion for this, but
Thanks here.
I don't recall seeing it.
Line adjustment?
Yes, he has one.
I thought he did.
Yeah, it's the first
Okay.
one.
Well, I'm open to having a motion made.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Mike, I move that the request of Granite State Construction Services LLC, planning board case number 23-15 for lot line adjustment be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just before we vote on the lot line
Discussion,
adjustment, you opened it up to the public. No one had a comment, but we did receive some letters from the public regarding this. So I don't know if it's worth reading.
Would you like to read that for us?
I'm happy to.
Thank you.
I don't know if that is on the lot line adjustment or the
I'm not sure.
subdivision.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know what you.
I think it's one, you're talking about the one with the traffic, Jen?
Yeah. Is that more of a, should we talk about
I mean, I
that?
don't think the lot line adjustment is
Okay.
next that,
We
but
can read it as the record.
maybe read it, doesn't matter, I guess.
stay ready. Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Pete, second.
I did.
He did. Oh, that's right. Excuse me. Any other discussion? Then I'll ask for a hand vote on this one. Those in favor, please raise your right hand. And those opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Now, back to the blueprints. Questions for Christian? Or would you like to have him review that again a little bit? We're looking at first the conventional layout. Is that right? Yes.
Thank you. He charged me for that, so I at least like that there. Yeah.
A lot of crayons there.
It was. I think that was 20 billable hours. We should put it up there.
Heritage Commission at all.
Don't we have to accept this?
Did we do that already? For complete review? You should, yes.
Yeah.
You have it already.
So we look at the conventional layout first.
Oh, sure.
We have to
That I don't have.
verbally approve that before we move to the plan. Yeah, everything he prepared, we gotta look at all of it.
Sure.
Yeah, we gotta discuss the yield plan.
Discuss the yield plan, see if we're comfortable with it. So if it was a conventional plan, this would be what it is. And the board needs to see that. This proves that it would work, but it can then the numbers of homes that come on the second plan are it's really a kind of a cluster development of sorts.
Yes.
So that's the guys we're under. So questions on the,
Yeah, why not build that? That looks so much better than that.
You think?
I do.
what's your comment, John?
I said, I think the yield plan looks better than the proposed plan.
Okay.
The layout, traffic flow.
Well, I mean, the traffic flow is not going to be very different, to be quite honest.
You got 5 driveways backing into each other like that on your proposed plan. And I imagine there's what?
Same asphalt there?
Probably a little more asphalt, without question. And actually, the only driveway that really should have an issue with backing out is this one, and we've provided an actual turnout for that.
Yep.
And Christian, again, these boxes are just showing some level of a buildable footprint.
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Those are maybe a little smaller.
Smaller, and then there is a reduction in impervious pavement doing it this way, and it just opens it up rather than having them all up in here somewhere.
We're getting a big reduction in pavement either way.
So, I'm sorry. can I
Yeah, but
just-
not as much going this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are getting a reduction.
Absolutely, either way.
What's there for the church parking lot?
Yes, there's like 69 parking spots right now.
When you're doing the comparison, if you can hold up, because Jennifer and I can't see what
Oh, yeah, sure.
you're comparing there.
I'll be my other easel.
Okay, thank you.
I just think that looks a lot more
Now,
vibrant.
while they're both up, for the audience and folks here, the one reason that we're doing this is in order to do the cluster development. The cluster development keeps more of the land open. And it becomes, I think I'm correct saying, it becomes common property
Yes,
to
correct.
to
develop
the
it
private
itself.
driveway for that particular neighborhood.
So that's the purpose of that. Many times there's less roadway, less sewer, less water pipe, because you can cluster the homes and save more of the land. That's the concept here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the yield plan's almost clustered as well. It's not much different.
Do you have a figure of both on the amount of
Could you-
impervious surface there?
Could you repeat that, please?
Just for comparative purposes, I'm just wondering
I
if
don't.
they have a
This one is
figure
21,000 and some short change. That's actually listed in
in the yield.
waiver request. But the yield plan, I cannot recall.
Right. Okay, just, what are these boxes?
25 by 25.
All right, a cape is 2636. So if you want a 35-foot tall tower, so I can make it work and berm up the front to make this happen, then you're gonna have things like you have down off behind Shooters with 2 flights of steps, or the ones that this gentleman here is living in. What's the name of the street? Sharon, where you go up 2 flights of stairs with the garage under. There's nothing in this neighborhood like that. These are all smaller, they're traditional capes, different type homes, ranches with attached garages. So this shows what we could put in here, 5 units. We're not asking for anything extra, but we're asking to put, in my opinion anyways, just in my opinion, right, is a nicer looking home that's in keeping with the neighborhood rather than what I mentioned earlier, taking a box and forcing it on a piece of land.
And the other benefit of going this route is this would be an actual 50-foot right-of-way. Likely that would want, because it comes right off of, I forget the name of the road right here. But that would likely become a public road and under the purview of DPW to maintain it. And it just eats up a lot of the good buildable land on the parcel. And
with pavement. And then also,
with pavement right away.
I've met with a lot of the abutters and working with them outside of this, and that's why you don't see any opposition tonight, and even working with them on this piece here, because their fence is on the property. I agreed to let them have it as long as I could take the chain link and put wood cedar fence in there to enhance it and put plantings and everything else. I mean, I'm part of the community. I'm not an outside developer. I live here, have been for decades, and you know, my name will be on this, so it's not going to be just something that's slapped in there. It's specific to what we want to do.
I think your comment's valid, John. That not a huge difference between the two plans, but I think there's probably pros and cons to each, right?
Probably is, yeah, I agree. But I think the cul-de-sac thing just looks better.
I mean, one's in color.
That shouldn't sway your opinion one way or another, Mr. Vice
They
Chair.
ran out of.
So you, John, you're comfortable with that layout, that you can in fact develop that property with those homes as shown.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's the real discussion of the yield plan.
Yeah, that's really what we're after.
No,
This is an easy one, we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no argument here with this.
Yeah, thank you, yeah, no argument that I can see. Any,
It's
excuse
just
me, back my.
personal preference.
Do you have any
No,
comments?
that's all right.
Okay.
No, I-
John, if you need something.
I like the cul-de-sac better too. Just so you know, I do. I rather have you come in and, you know, with the
It's a
circle
lot
and you
more
come out.
inviting.
It
Probably sell
is,
those
however,
homes
when it comes time to place the actual home, that's when it changes, and then there's less, not by a lot, but there is a reduction in the impervious pavement. Now it's a town road, the town has to maintain it. Where's your snow storage? There's a lot of things that go into effect with that, and then the style, because now I'm forcing everything into the smaller footprint and building up, opposed to utilizing the drive-in garage and a little more comfortable. And again, I feel it's in keeping with the neighborhood. Unless you want to give me a wetland waiver setback, then I can open the whole thing up and I'll put a circle in there for you. We could add that to the list if you'd like.
I can't do that.
All right.
I don't think we're going that far.
All right,
Not
thank
by
you.
myself.
Gwen, you had a comment, a question?
Yeah, I think I brought this up at one of the previous meetings, but I still have concerns about the wetland that's flanking Little River. And
This little bit?
yeah. And I think I question whether that was really, whether it was part of the river or not, and whether that should be used to determine where the 250-foot shoreline line would be.
And we submitted a document from Gold Environmental.
Was that in here?
Yeah, it should have been,
See it,
yeah.
I think it
okay.
is, yeah.
Okay, so they've.
And they've gone through the
Can you
criteria.
explain that?
I can't explain it.
You
I
can't
could,
explain it.
yeah, but not with any expertise.
Okay,
But it was, you know, as you know, there are certain criteria under the wetland code that discount it or disconnect it from the actual water body, and it met one or two of those prongs.
okay.
And I know that the environmental planner has reviewed that as well. Kristen, yes.
It's, that spot is poorly drained soil. It's not continuous. It doesn't come in from the pond like a finger.
It doesn't?
No, it absolutely does not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's
So it's
clearly
like a separate wetland.
just on that area where it's poorly drained soil, and there's like a bunch of, I think it was stones, some big stones. Yeah, a bunch of stones and everything in that one spot as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So, I think what we're going to do is just get consensus from the board that we agree that the traditional plan would work, and then we can go ahead with the proposed Technicolor plan. Any objections to that? I don't think we have to have a motion on this, but I think, I mean,
Do we want to
You
just
okay
to
with
make
it?
it safe? I'm okay.
John, you
with it.
okay with it? For the most part?
I guess I'll be outvoted anyway, so.
I mean, I agree with you. I think maybe we all
No, I mean, I
look
agree
at
that, I
that.
agree that it works, the yield plan works, and you can
Yeah.
get 5 lots, and I mean, it's happened, but looking at it, it's just, to me, personal
Yeah,
preference. Would look a lot better, a lot less congested.
I think if it weren't for
I
the
wouldn't live
height
on that street.
of the buildings, I would be more excited about
Yeah.
that. But those houses are all low-profile houses, and I think it
You would
would.
be more excited by that. More pavement, no land under protection, and a town-maintained road. That would make you
Just
more excited.
visually, I mean, you're right.
If I lived there.
I don't like more pavement.
Yeah.
But this,
That's not
Less
something I'm
wetlands protection.
ever in favor of.
there's less
spot for a
pavement
zone.
that's there now, because we're taking out a parking
That's,
lot.
either plan gives you that.
Yes, yes.
And would I rather have a town road maintained? Yes, I would.
You would.
Yeah. If I lived there.
If you live there, you gonna live there?
It's gonna be a,
Making a
it's gonna be a
We
condo.
got a buyer over here.
Yes.
It's gonna be a condo? No.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying, no, I'm not going to buy a place there. If it's a condo, that's, you know, that's my business, and it's 5 people, it's going to be heavy.
Well, I mean, bottom line
But
is,
that's not my
cluster adheres to our master plan. So, I mean, that is part
Appreciate
of what
that, yeah.
the citizens have pushed us for, is the master plan. I think you're on a committee involved with that.
I am.
Just checking. No?
5 and 5. They each have 5.
All right. Well, I mean, we have to debate this stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in terms of a yield plan, it conforms to a yield plan. So I think
Yeah.
we see 5 units,
I
right?
have no problem with that.
Okay.
I just think the yield plan looks better than the final plan.
Okay,
All right.
so you're happy with
Like
your...
Baskin Robbins is
That's all I need
31
to know.
flavors.
Aaron, how about you? You happy with that plan?
I think it's happy doesn't, my opinion, happy doesn't matter. It
Go with it.
conforms to the
Go with
zoning
it.
regulations.
Yes? Jen? All right. I will say that we are happy with the yield plan, and we can proceed with the hearing on the technical plan.
Technical.
Technical, I mean, right now, I mean, that's what it is.
Eating yourself.
All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Jen, you have a letter to read. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Do you want to read the public comment?
Let me open public comment now anyway, so we're open for that as we go
I
through
think we ever
this.
closed it, but.
No, I think he actually did for
Oh, did he?
the LOA.
Yeah, we accepted it.
Okay, so we received an email from Steve Blaisdell, which states, Barbara, please forward this note to the planning board, thank you. The subject is the application of Granite State Construction Services LLC for a site plan review for the open space development on Little River Road. It states, I am not an abutter. I live at 6 Little River Road near the end of the driveway to the new development. My concern is traffic and speed control on Little River Road and Penn Lane. We have no sidewalks and relatively narrow streets, especially in the winter. The details of the Granite State plans are not online, so this may already be addressed. I assume that the development will include repaving the driveway at the intersection with Little River Road and Penn Lane. When the planning board approved a preschool at the Calvary Baptist Church 25 years ago, they required a speed bump at the end of the driveway. Hopefully the planning board will require some kind of traffic or speed control for the development. A significant speed bump addresses speed issues for both arriving and departing vehicles. Thank you, Steve and Judy Blaisdell, 6 Little River Road.
Thank you. So we need to consider that.
And if I could just address one comment in that letter, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
There is no speed bump proposed per se, but we do have a stop sign
That's
proposed.
stop sign.
Yes. So that'll certainly, we hope, bring people to a stop before they enter onto either one of those existing public streets.
Other comments, questions?
Oh, we have a stop sign.
You do have a stop sign.
Yes.
Can I ask?
So, I mean, I think that one of the, I don't know if this is why everyone seems to like the cul-de-sac, is because, you know, you picture you drive in here by accident and you can't unless you go to someone's driveway. So I guess my question is there a way to, like, include a turnaround in some way that's maybe not like a full-on, you know, fire truck cul-de-sac, but maybe.
Well, that's what this functions as. This is just a little bump out, and the fire trucks can make their way in there and back all the way down the street. So certainly any passenger vehicle could pull in here and make the turn.
So that's paved at that
That's
point.
paved.
That's correct. Yeah. Still less than the cul-de-sac, I'm sorry to say, Jen. But that, Jen, actually came out of working with Jason at the fire department.
Okay. Can that be made more attractive? I mean, it's kind of like a giant chunk of asphalt, like,
Yeah, really
it's
can't.
it's not a nice round cul-de-sac.
He wants to be able to back his
Yeah,
ladder truck from here back to here. That's what it takes.
Will there be no parking signs there?
Absolutely,
That'll
right at the
fill
end.
up.
That's what that is right there.
Okay.
will there be any signs at the entrance to the driveway saying, private drive?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a road name sign, and I presume it will say PVT right after the Little River Road extension. Is that what we're proposing?
It's gonna say, Mr. Sharples wanted it, or I think it was Doug, I forgot who, to keep it as Little River, so it's gonna be 12, 13, 14.
Oh, okay.
And just
Okay.
maintain as Little River.
Well, yeah, as part of that road name sign, it will reflect the fact.
Right now, that entire front piece is gonna get ripped up, new water, new sewer lines, all the utilities are coming underground from the one pole feeding everything. And there'll be a nice landscaped entranceway. And then it'll have the name Concord Meadow Private, private drive or something, coming into the development. So it'll be very clear that it's
Yeah,
dead end, private drive. Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, I think dead end maybe is a good,
Yeah.
good thing to say on it, just so you don't get
Yeah. No
outlet.
Because even private drive, like people.
The new thing is no outlet.
Yeah.
No outlet, that's
yeah.
right.
Exactly. This is not a shortcut to anywhere, we promise.
Other thoughts, Pete?
Oh, we're good.
I have one.
Yes.
Is there somewhere where you're talking about the size of the houses, square footage, bedrooms, baths? I
On
heard
the
comments tonight, yes.
No,
You could add 3 bedrooms.
I don't believe so. I mean, it's talked about in the sewer connection permit.
Well, in the permit it is, because on the plan it's talking about 4 bedrooms.
On
How
the,
you did your flows, which makes sense to go higher, right? But note 10,
what's a 4-bedroom? There's a 4-bedroom sewer plan?
Five units and 4 bedrooms each.
Yeah, that's an errant note. That's just a typo. Yep. I will correct that.
okay.
Thank you for picking that up, Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
It's only 5.
Well, so you are going to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths?
2.5 bath, 2-car garage.
Okay. I think that should be on the plan, and I think square footage should be on the plan. Because one of the things with the yield plan is we do get into the box size,
Yeah.
and you are increasing the box size. I don't know what your footprint will ultimately be, but it should be noted.
Well, what I can do, or what I would suggest, if this works for you, Mr. Vice Chair, is label what these building envelopes
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And then Sam
Go
will
from
work
there.
within that.
The architectural part, I hate to see someone present so much on it, because I think it can change. And it
Oh, absolutely.
does change.
Absolutely.
And I think it can create a little bit of a feeling of unintentioned confusion. Somebody could think, oh, well, I thought it was going to be this. And you're like, well, no, this was just a facsimile. We were thinking maybe this. And people can feel misled if
Well,
it changes dramatically, which it can.
We're compelled to submit those.
I understand. It's a challenge.
These say,
But that-
these say 5-bedroom, by the way.
Yeah, they can say 6, it doesn't matter. It's what's gonna sell, and they're not gonna be starter castles in there.
Right, but that's what we're talking about, a note
Yeah.
that says square footage,
Yeah.
bedrooms and baths.
And if that works for you, that's
And
what I'll
if you
do.
go
I'll
less,
label that
you
on all.
have the right to go less.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So we could submit something, just look at the boxes, because we did have a lot of plans that we've gone
Yeah.
over, and it's pulled from Wendy Welton's website.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
what we did.
Okay.
Just found the
And I
boxes that
think-
fit with the front loads, Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just said, okay, this will fit.
Right.
Then how could I reduce it?
Sure.
Right?
Makes sense.
And the bedrooms, like on one of them, is gonna become more of a big laundry room and a storage room and that type of stuff, so.
Yeah, so you have, it looks, you have sewer, I mean, so when
Yes.
you were doing your flows, you did calculate it based on 3-bedroom houses? or
I believe
4-bedroom
so.
houses?
Yeah, on the sewer connection permit. Like I said, I
Okay.
think that's just an error.
All right, okay. So it would be 3s then?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Want to talk about waivers?
Yeah. Let's see if the public wishes to discuss anything or speak to this case, any concerns or thoughts you have. If you do, please step to the podium and share them with us. Introduce yourself so we know who's speaking. And so that our public at home will know who's speaking. Well, seeing none, let me close the public session then. Bring back to the board, and Aaron, you had some, look, we want to discuss the waivers first.
We want to talk about the perimeter buffer strip.
Yeah, let's talk about perimeter buffer strip.
You want to make him do his dog and pony show for you? Talk about the waiver?
Go ahead.
I will read it into the record.
Aren't you getting paid by the hour?
I am.
Okay.
It depends on the
I am.
outcome.
Right. Unless Sam shows up at my house with a bludgeon weapon. So the first one is specific to our proposed encroachment into the 50-foot buffer zone. I guess I should go back one. We'll put this up. So this is the 50-foot parent parcel buffer. And again, this entire area is completely devoid of trees to this point. So that's kind of key to recall as I go through this. So the waiver reads, your petitioner seeks the following relief. We respectfully request a waiver to subdivision section 11.2.8, which requires a 50-foot vegetated strip from the perimeter of the parent tract with the first 25 feet to remain in a natural state. The submitted design proposes 25 feet of vegetated buffer with enhanced planting, where none currently exist, to screen the proposed homes from the abutting residents on Penn Lane. We feel the waiver is justified as the proposal will serve to reduce the visual impact to the abutting parcels on Penn Lane by infilling the 25-foot vegetated buffer with the proposed enhanced screening. Therefore, granting the waiver will not be detrimental to public health, safety, welfare, nor could it be deemed injurious to other properties. The condition, upon which this request is made are largely due to the fact that in the prior development of the parcel for the church, the 50-foot buffer was nearly entirely disturbed and cleared. The proposal will serve to improve the screening to the abutting parcels with where virtually no tree buffer exists. This is unique to the parcel and not generally applicable to other properties. The resultant houses will result, that's terrible writing, my God, in development that is consistent with the abutting neighborhood. Due to the physical topography and surroundings and associated wetland setbacks, and the fact that the perimeter buffer was previously disturbed, it would appear that more impacts to features such as wetland buffers would be realized to hold the 50-foot buffer along the reference parent parcel boundary. This would result in a hardship if the strict letter of the regulation is carried out, e.g., it is not a matter of mere convenience. The waiver would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the regulations, as it is expressly allowed in the cited section of the regulations.
The library will close in 15 minutes at 8 p.m. If you are currently renting a library laptop, it must be checked in at this time.
We'll be served a couple more times, and we've got the
That's
library
quite
till
all right.
midnight.
Okay, so I will move on. The perimeter buffer was adopted for the purpose of preserving green space, buffering incompatible uses, and lessening the impact of development. It seems clear that the intent was not to adopt this regulation to reduce density, would be expressly contrary to the regulations. And finally, the proposed waiver does not propose to vary the provisions of the zoning ordinance or the master plan. This is demonstrated by the facts cited above, particularly the fact that more vegetative screening will be provided to the existing abutting parcels than exist currently.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments?
I just have a question
Yes.
about the plantings. You've got eastern white pine, 8 to 10 feet. Is that, are these,
8 to 10 feet in height.
right.
Yeah.
As planted or?
At the time of planting.
At the time of planting.
Yeah, and they grow about 2 feet a year. Those are pretty rapidly growing trees.
I'm just very nervous about eastern white pines, and I don't know.
But they're being spaced,
That's a
so
good
as they
point.
mature, they will
About
choke each
maintenance.
other out. Excuse me, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Sorry, you might want to bring up maintenance
Right.
of
Just
those. Because the
Jan-
waiver request ties into that.
Jan, when those trees grow, are there any branches at the bottom of them? Or
Well, they naturally drop their branches as they grow. I think that's what
There
you're
won't be a
concerned
buffer.
about, is
That's
they're
what
gonna
I'm
be dropping their
concerned about.
branches. I mean, they're gonna drop, like, there's nothing at that property line.
I don't know how close the houses are to it.
Yeah, I was just looking at Google Earth. I mean, they're pretty,
Yeah, and
Unlike
this
Everett.
shed is actually my wife's cousin.
Like her.
Actually, I love her.
Right now, it's asphalt, some grass, and a chain link fence.
yeah.
And I've talked to the abutters about allowing me to rip down the chain link fence and put a nice cedar fence up and then all the way down through the entire property just to clean it and then landscape on the other side of it.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the aerial photo, like, there's also sort of a row, at least in this aerial photo, I don't know if it's that recent, but it seems like all of those at least the two abutters that are closest to that hedgerow, proposed hedgerow, have their own landscaping, some evergreens and some other trees, so,
On their side of the
on their
Yes.
side. So, like, it's not like, and then their houses are another 80 feet away. So,
And again, maintenance of the trees will almost no doubt be written into the condominium.
Yeah, we don't
Because
hold-
they're going to take care
I
of
think
the
they would
property.
want them just.
Absolutely, yeah.
In this picture, they're there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it not there anymore?
I think it may, is there some, yeah,
I just think of, I don't know, I just think of.
is there a tree you like better?
Brittle and they're leggy, they're lollipoppy when they
Yeah.
get big.
But I think that's why they did the
But-
2 rows.
So you think,
Precisely,
Okay.
because, yeah, we put the alternating white Norway and Meyer spruce in the front of that.
about green giant arborvitae?
Right.
That's
take the
deer
pines
fodder.
over the arborvitae.
Deer gonna eat it, yeah.
Deer will eat those.
Okay, you've got a variety of things, yep.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite tree either, Gwen, but like, I think
yeah.
in this case, I mean, the thing I don't particularly love about it is it's not, like, they don't grow in rows in the woods. Like, I'd rather see like a couple white pines and then maybe a couple something else and then a couple
Right.
things. But I mean, it's
not all that
serving,
creative.
it's not, that's my aesthetic preference.
Right.
Like, it's serving the purpose it needs to serve. It's a layered planting approach.
Right.
The spruce will kind of fill in that understory as the pines get tall. And there's no power lines or anything along that property.
No, there's actually underground power here, but that pole is coming down as far as I'm aware.
Taking that down.
And the whole thing is
back
going to
and
be
then
served by
bringing it under.
underground.
It's under now from the one pole that
From
sits
here.
literally in someone's
Yeah.
backyard and goes into the church building. So
Okay.
that's gonna all come up, go back, and then all redone. So all the utilities will be new from the town feed in to the properties. So that way everything's just updated.
Yeah.
So from my perspective on that part, because of the waiver request and it relating really to that, your closest abutters, right? I think that area, we probably should, as a board, be a little more detailed about how we mitigate the reduction, potential reduction in the setback, which means more involvement into what goes there, in terms of the plantings, in terms of the fence they're talking about, to make sure that happens as a potential condition of approval. Right? So I heard
It's confirming.
cedar fence.
Yeah, there's gonna be a cedar fence, but then also, that's why I asked, if there's like some trees
Yeah, right.
that you feel is better, there's
Yeah.
no objection
This
to
is your
putting them in there.
opportunity. There
I
it
mean,
is.
I'm not really in a position to do a design plan on the spot.
Well, I mean, if you would like, you
So-
can email me something or do some research because we're open, because that's gonna get cleaned up. There's gonna be equipment in there, and then that'll be the time for me to put things in there and create that natural buffer and just
Yeah.
clean it
And I'll
up.
be honest, Jen, the reason that I picked those for that particular back row is they grow tall and they grow wide.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they also are, I think, to Gwen's point, like, you see a lot of overgrown hedgerows of white pines that somebody planted 40 years ago because they thought it was a good idea because they were doing the exact same thing.
Right.
And they're ugly, nothing grows below them, they're a maintenance, I mean, I just had a client cut down a row of them up in Jackson, New Hampshire. So like, it could be problematic in the long run. So I appreciate what Aaron's saying, like, because of the waiver, that maybe we should put a little more thought into this.
Right.
I mean, what I would personally, like, I would rather see the applicant have a landscape designer submit a design plan for it. I'm not going to do the design plan.
Is that you, Gwen?
No, and I'm glad you said that because I feel like we look to you for suggestions, and I was thinking it would be wise not only for the applicant to save you money in the long run and have a nice looking plan to go to a landscape designer, even, just seek the help of somebody who is.
Where does it say the cedar fence?
It doesn't. That's a conversation with the butters and I.
Okay.
That's why.
You said you were going to do it.
Yeah, with
I
the
want
butters.
to guarantee that that's going to be done and maintained by the condo association.
It's on their
or
property.
HOA.
It's their fence. I've
Yeah.
offered to put a free fence for the abutters, and I've showed them this plan. I've
So
met
when you
with
say
them.
it's on their property, it's the butter's property, or?
It's
It's on the condominium property.
It's
Alright, so
on the property, and
The
I.
documents will say that, and they'll be responsible to maintain it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I didn't know there was a fence. Maybe you don't need all those.
I don't have
You
to do
something,
something.
like they said, a few different varieties, something simpler maybe.
Yeah, but I just want to say, there is nothing forcing me to do a cedar fence.
Yeah, right.
I've worked with all the neighbors. I've sat with them. We've spoken with each other. We've looked at it. They're open. They were telling me to go back and put condos in there and apartments because there's a need, and use the existing structure, and then I could rip up more asphalt. And we all got together. The one abutter on the corner, his fence, he has like a right of way, but
Yeah, you said.
yeah, it's like over, and he wanted to buy this. I said, if I don't need it and the town doesn't force me to do anything, you can continue using it, just let me change the fence.
Yeah, you said.
So my name's on this, that it looks nice when you're coming in, and there's some pride in what's going in here. So I'm open, if you have any. Look, Christian did an amazing job with this. He's an engineer. He took things from other properties that have been approved, that have been put in, had thought in for the height and the screening. But if there's something that the town or the board recommends, put it. I'm open to that. I welcome it. And it makes it easier for me because I'm not an arborist. I'm not a landscape designer.
I'm just thinking with the cedar fence, you might not need as much. Or as big.
Yeah, because right now when you stand on Penn and you look, you see the church building.
Yeah.
And there's a one.
The library will close in 5 minutes.
In the back, when I said I put a fence.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and one of the abutters has a pool back there, and I told them, when I put the fence in, so they're happy about that. This couple here is happy about it. They're actually interested in the property. So I feel like I've reached out to the community. They're embracing it. They didn't want the daycare center. The occupancy permit is for over 300 people right now.
Yeah, 325.
25 or something. It's going down to 5 residential. I'm trying to keep them lower, trying to keep the boxes, less impact on the entire neighborhood. And a lot of this zoning and everything around here is already in that 25-foot setback to the rear yard. So I'm not asking for anything that doesn't already exist, and only for these 2 units. So that this, you can see, is a little bit longer, to your point. It's not the big circle, so I needed a little bit longer driveway to kind of come up, make it safer, and then I could pull these up a little bit from the poorly drained soil back here. And it allows me to shift it.
And you don't have the driveways back to back. So that's good.
Yeah, so I could just it gives me a little more, and then I might be able to take this, swing it in this way, I'll bring it over. It's just, once I see what I can do and what my buildable footprint is, then I could go back and work with the land and the topography and just, I mean, a lot of it's flat, there's not much change, but at least I could go in there and then start positioning them better to put them on the best spot within the buildable footprint. Yeah, thank you.
So are we at a point where they work with the landscape architect for that section and the plan be approved by our town planner? I think we've done that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I tried to play Dave White at the same time as the chair here. I think that we've done that kind of thing before. Have him work it out as appropriate with a professional person, and then Dave can approve that as a condition.
I've done that before with Strata Nursery.
Yeah, I was
It
gonna
was
say.
with Dave
talk
at the
to
time. I
Dave.
don't think Dave sold it, but Dave,
Dave Short.
sure, but there was a woman there that worked with him. She lives up behind Park Street. But anyway, she did the design for me that I had submitted, so I could just go there, take the, I'll make my own drawing, Christian, and then take it and then have it submitted. And she could put it on what type of vegetation that's also local, native, and just kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I actually just typed up if the board would accept this as a condition.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because Dave's not here to type
Nice
up the
job.
conditions.
Nice job, Dave.
Maybe I'll take a stab at it, but I'm suggesting, that it should be 25 foot deep, so it's that full depth.
Yeah.
To grow at least 40 feet tall, the species, and that they should be native species. A lot of these that are proposed, the white pine are, but the Norway spruce are not. And then I'm suggesting at least a variety of 5 different species rather than 3. I think that it provides a little more biodiversity for that large of an area. And then from there, I think your designer, wherever they're from, I think could probably run with those parameters and do something really nice.
I'd rather do something tall or green on the back and then
Yeah.
have something that's flowering different times of the year up front that's like a shrub that fills in.
More of an
maybe.
understory.
Yeah, it's going to be
Something,
nicer rather
yeah.
than just filling it.
Yeah.
At least there's some yard space, there's some, nothing's going to be built on it, but you'll have the fence, which is going to be a buffer. You're going to have some green that's coming up over, but then maybe in front, some
Yeah.
different hollies or just something different that's flowering
Break
at
it up
different
a little
times of the year. That just give it a little bit nicer than this just wall of
Yeah.
separation. But whatever the board recommends, we'll
And I think to
we'll
Glenn's
go
point, they
with.
don't need to be 80 foot tall. Like the Norway spruce also get to be really big.
Yeah.
They don't need to be clean. I think like sometimes that can be overwhelming in a close knit space like this. So maybe when we get to conditions, or do you want me to read it?
Don't delete that.
I won't do
Dave at least
You ended up doing them all, be careful.
it. I can email it to Dave. We can agree on it.
Okay. Anything else?
So I think we need to deal with the neighborhood, right?
Deal with the neighborhood.
Deal with the perimeter buffer strip waiver motion.
Yeah.
Are you looking for?
So I'm looking for a motion.
So I guess with this condition, go with the waiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you
Yes.
want to do a condition about the cedar fence?
I think that's more, that's in the perimeter buffer, yeah. That's why we would require.
The library is now closed.
There. How's it feel?
That should be the end of the announcements.
So, go ahead and make a motion. We'll put the,
She's drafting.
Okay, I can
see her fence part, or
I can take a stab at the waiver motion if you want. And the conditions. Okay. After reviewing the criteria for granting waivers, I move that the request of Granite State Construction Services LLC for a waiver from section 11.2.8 of the site plan review and subdivision regulations regarding vegetated buffer strip requirements for open space development be approved with the following conditions. And the applicant shall provide a mixed deciduous and evergreen landscape buffer designed by a landscape architect or landscape designer that is at least 25 foot in width and will grow at least 40 feet tall and is comprised of at least 5 varieties of native tree species spaced at 15 feet on center. And the second condition is the applicant shall provide a 6-foot high cedar fence along the property line. Is that enough? Should I say like within that zone? Like, I mean, it doesn't need to be into the woods, I would think.
Well, there's, yeah.
Should define it.
Yeah, that would actually be quite difficult. But yeah, what my thought is coming in here and then coming up into the woods where, because over here there's no butter, they're looking at woods already.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna be screening out this guy's property here, which is not on there, but the plan is also to have vegetation coming in. You'll see his driveway, him and Olivia, and then along the line, more vegetation. So even though we're having this lot line, I'm still gonna be screening that out. This isn't gonna be used, it's staying green and just natural, with some additional landscaping on this side, which I plan on doing already, so that it's truly, when you're coming in, his driveway will come out, there'll be obviously good visibility and everything here, then it's landscaped so that they still have their privacy. If someone's coming out, there's no lights, you know, going into their front window or anything else, so that's something that we've already discussed about putting some nice landscaping in there, so it's just, it'll really be like a nice little cohesive neighborhood.
So I think for the purposes of this waiver, the buffer waiver, I mean, we're really only concerned about that 50-foot.
Yeah, correct. Behind
So,
it, yeah. Carry it to the end.
So I might
of
just
that.
say, for the applicant shall provide a 6-foot high cedar fence along the property line where it abuts.
Whether waiver request is? Or
Yeah,
something?
I'm not sure how to word that.
Well,
How about if you just word it to the end of the last home
Yeah.
that's being built or something, so that this home here also has the privacy, so that I carry it up into this, and then that way, this is their yard, which is all woods right now, and there's woods here, but at least if I bring it over so that it's maybe just some language where it carries up to the back of the last structure or something, then it's truly screening it out.
You want it in conjunction with the woods?
Sam, are you saying the last existing structure on the abutting?
What I'm saying, Aaron, is like this house here is gonna get, I want this one screened as well, but if there's trees here, then I'll stop if there's a tree, but if not, I can continue that fence so that this property here has a nice side yard and also a little bit screening for the kids, and then also for the abutters that may be on this side. Because really the visibility is here where the church is that you see from Penn Lane.
So your reference point there is the side, the boundary with
Easterly corner of proposed.
What's this?
Well, it's Osborne's lot line, if you look at it. That's how it lines up.
Can we just say along the property line impacted by the waiver? Because it's really,
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
It is a
and
way- I'm
then
just
when I'm
trying to
there, I can
simplify
see
the
what.
wording.
Do that, and then
But he's trying to figure out how far to bring it.
that's a minimum
well, he can
requirement?
figure that out.
Minimum requirement, yes.
Or we can.
It's 270 feet.
270 feet.
270 feet. It's really,
That's a lot of fence. Yeah, you don't want to.
Well, she jumped me from 4 to 6 feet, so the trees are gonna be a little smaller, but it's okay.
Oh, man.
Okay.
And that's just on the.
From New Hampshire, they couldn't.
Yeah, right.
You wanted native, they're coming from the White Mountains.
There's
All right.
270 feet in the backyard.
It's a lot of, and if I did the road, it's over 500 feet of pavement
Right.
that would have been built to a town standard
Yeah.
at $1,000 per foot.
Yeah.
So that road that you asked me to put in also would have been $500,000 before I broke ground
Yeah.
and started putting a foundation in there.
But John likes that road.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd
Bring
sell
up
you a
a sore
house in there
subject,
if you
okay?
were to put the road in. You know?
Okay, moving right
But yeah,
along.
sure, it's also in an effort to keep costs down.
And the driveways you're putting in are free.
No, but it's only a 22-foot private driveway without granite curbing and all the other stuff and more landscape and everything, yeah.
Okay, those are the two conditions as read. Is there a second to the motion?
I will say.
Oh, Gwen?
Then second, okay. Any other
I'm
discussion?
sorry, I didn't hear the motion.
You didn't hear the motion?
No. Can you redo the conditions? Yes.
Oh my God.
Well, there was like discussion about it, I thought.
Just the conditions? or
Just the
whole-
conditions.
Okay.
Just, yes.
Both of them or just the?
Both of
the
them,
fence?
please.
Okay. Applicant shall provide a mixed deciduous and evergreen landscape buffer designed by a landscape architect or landscape designer that is at least 25 feet in width and will grow at least 40 feet tall, and is comprised of at least 5 varieties of native tree species spaced at 15 feet on center. And the second one is, applicant shall provide a 6-foot-high cedar fence along the property line impacted by the waiver.
That reads to me like the whole line.
No, because
If it's
the
impacted, it
50-foot
does.
waiver only applies to that.
Yeah, it only applies to the section,
that-
Aaron,
those two buildings.
that's not tree.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Aaron, I'm okay with it because.
No, I just
again-
wanted to be specific.
Yeah, no, and I
That's the biggest
appreciate
thing
that,
here for me.
because like you're saying, you realize that you start doing the
Yeah.
whole thing,
Yeah,
that
it gets
the-
crazy.
the
Both
cost
ways,
starts.
yeah. Dave's pretty good at mitigating that stuff. He'll be really good about working with the designer.
Right.
So I think that's
Unless
really
you
well
want
done, Jen.
to increase density, then we could do more trees and more fences.
Okay,
Now,
we have a motion,
Up to me.
second on the floor here,
we do need
or on the
it.
table, I should say.
Yeah.
So we're going to hand vote, please. Those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. And opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. So that one's squared away. Now we got stormwater management for redevelopment standards waiver motion.
Yes, sir.
Christian, before you get into that, our town planner is not in attendance. I did discuss with Dave, I know he's discussed with you, his concern about this waiver.
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, that came out of TRC as well. Underwood made comments, and that's how we ended up with the drip edges for the roofs and the 2 bioretention swales.
Has he seen that?
We submitted the plans, I forgot, back on the 8th.
Because I know he's still expressing
Yeah.
serious concerns about that waiver, because it is one of our regulations. And yes, clearly you are taking significant steps to reducing impervious surface. There's no argument about that. But doing the work is unfortunately part of the regulation, depending on how you look at it, in terms of forwarding the stormwater management is becoming a bigger and bigger issue
Oh, of
in
course.
society, right? So part of our charge is to enforce the regulations, even when someone's already trying to do everything they're probably going to have to do.
Right.
So I just want to bring that up before you get into it.
Yeah, understood. And I mean, part of this is, if I'm going to do stormwater evaluation out here, number one, we all know what the result's going to be.
Yep.
And number two, he's going to have a soil scientist get out there and do, at least his, but very likely site-specific soil mapping. It just seems like for something that's blatant, and we've now added in actual stormwater treatment features.
Sure.
Based on input from Underwood. I don't know what you're going to get for additional information on that. But anyway,
Yep.
would you like me to read it
Yes.
into the record?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Do you want us not to approve this, or what are you saying?
It doesn't matter what I want. I'm just expressing what the town manager can express, town planner can express, because he's not here. So he had those discussions with me offline because he couldn't attend. And I'm bringing them up so the whole board and the public and the applicant can further hear his current position as of very close to the beginning of this meeting. Just, okay? Thank you, Christian.
Oh, no problem at all.
I'm sorry, Christian, before you start getting into that, all the explanation, can you just give a quick synopsis of what the requirement is and what the waiver is that you're...
Well, the requirement is for a full-blown stormwater evaluation.
Okay.
This is
The maintenance
redevelopment.
plan and everything else goes...
Correct.
Okay.
An I&M, which is very simple for the features that we propose. And my assumption is, Jen, we would not require any additional treatment features than what we're actually proposing. But again, then Sam's going to have to get a soil scientist out here to actually do physical soil mapping. I'm going to have to go through the whole iteration of the pre and post development calculations. in the HydroCAD model, put that all together, write up the narratives, do all the, BMP worksheets, et cetera. And again, I think it's just going to tell us exactly what we're looking at here.
And you don't need to do that for, like, the state?
No, this doesn't meet any state permit criteria. Doesn't trip over any of those disturbance thresholds.
Okay?
Okay, now you can.
I was waiting to make sure you were finished. Okay, we respectfully request a waiver to the subdivision regulations section 932, which requires stormwater management evaluation and report be submitted as part of the development application. The submitted design results in a reduction of 11,149 square feet of impervious surface on the parcel, and the entire parcel drains away from Penn Lane due to the existing topography and toward wetland systems in the Little River. We feel the waiver is justified as reduction in impervious, existing 32,429, proposed 21,280 square feet. Therefore, granting the waiver will not be detrimental to public health, safety, or welfare, nor be deemed injurious to other property. And again, I've explained, we've actually, since I drafted this, which was in August, we have added the additional stormwater infiltration treatment features after going through TRC that I've detailed before. The condition upon which this request is made, due to the fact that the proposed development will result in a reduction of stormwater leaving the property during any analyzed storm event, this is unique to the parcel and not generally applicable to other properties. Due to the physical topography and surroundings, and the fact that the stormwater peak flows and volumes will be reduced based on the 34% reduction in impervious surface, a drainage analysis is quite simply not warranted. And again, I handed in with this set of plans, the revised after the second TRC, the alteration of terrain bureaus, pollutant reductions, and basically everything works aside from the infiltration trenches. It's either nitrogen or phosphorus, I can't remember which one, by 5%. Required 60, it provides 55 for that particular nutrient. The waiver would not be contrary, oh no, that was just in the middle of that. Yeah, okay. The waiver would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the regulations as it is clear the proposed... As it is proposed, the development will result in a reduction of impervious surface. We have provided treatment areas and the additional vegetation of the plantings within the 25-foot perimeter buffer. Stormwater management standards for post-development, post-construction regulation was adopted for the purpose of protecting local natural resources from degradation and preventing adverse impact to adjacent downstream land and property, facilities, and infrastructure. It seems clear that the reduction in impervious stormwater flows and volume, as well as the treatment we are now proposing, uphold this standard. The proposed waiver does not propose to vary any of the provisions of the zoning ordinance or master plan. This is demonstrated by the facts cited above, particularly the fact that more vegetative planting and reduced impervious area, as well as the stormwater treatment areas, will be provided as part of this development.
Where currently none exists.
Thank you.
Right.
Any questions, concerns?
I mean, I have
Yes.
concern. I have concern.
Go ahead.
I think I have the same concerns that Aaron expressed, or was conveying from our town planner. I think a lot of the justification was, well, we're making it better than it is now, which, yes, that's definitely the case right now. It's a big paved parking lot. It's going to be a lot better. It's less impervious. But without, going through the rigor of the report, of the analysis, I mean, if there's no way for the professional reviewers to know, to look at it and say, yes, this is not going to impact our prime wetland that's right adjacent to it, like, I don't know if we as a planning board can responsibly, grant this waiver request.
Have we ever?
Granted this waiver
Yeah.
request? I don't know.
I don't remember doing it.
Yeah, I don't, it certainly doesn't come up often, no.
No, I'm just trying to remember if I recall. Have you ever been before us asking for this one?
My first time asking for it, yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't think we've ever.
Yeah. Well, high time you start.
First time for everything.
I like your spirit, Mr. Smith. No, it's a tough one.
It is, yeah.
You want to speak?
I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
just
what's
would like
being
to say
done.
something. It is a tough one, and I understand why the regulations and everything's there for redevelopment. Part of this redevelopment is taking this massive asphalt parking lot, converting it, where there's nothing, there's no water mitigation right now. It's all asphalt, it's just going wherever. It's created some of the wetlands because it just sheaves and goes,
up.
yeah. And now we're gonna be at 34% reduction in asphalt. I mean, that's a big thing. That's a big reduction. Also, the houses having the stone drip edge around is gonna be capturing it. I'm putting in probably tens of thousands of dollars of landscape, natural buffers. We met with the engineers, Underwood Engineering, a couple of times on technical review. We went ahead and added
The treatment swell.
the treatment swells here under their advice and putting the landscape, and not just there, but also what's going to be here, because that's where the water goes, and nothing's shedding there now, nor will it. It's just a big flat sheet of
Yeah,
asphalt.
with all due respect, there's no landscape plan showing any landscaping there, so we can't evaluate that.
I could-
No, I understood,
Because
because that's not on the locust parcel.
Yeah, so you
But-
can keep telling us you're gonna do that, but
Well, you
it's
could
not
do-
in your submitted plan.
But it's
so-
within your control to do it as a condition of approval that this piece over here is landscaped. And so.
That's more complicated than the buffer. I wouldn't feel comfortable just having that be a condition personally.
I mean, bottom line is not impacting abutters with your stormwater is one of the things I hear more from the public than probably anything else, is they're concerned about, you're doing X, Y, and Z, right now it's whatever, and I'm worried that that's gonna impact my land, and their major concern is usually stormwater.
And there's nothing leaving the site.
I understand, it's just it's why we have the regulations, why.
Right, no, and I respect that, and I absolutely understand
Making
that.
sure the
Yeah.
due diligence is done,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's certainly, I mean, how many times have we listened to that? It's a legitimate, very common concern. I think that's a big change in, more modern development than stuff that happened 50 years ago.
Right, I wholeheartedly agree. And quite frankly, I don't think we would have even suggested it if we didn't know that this was higher and everything drains that way
Yeah.
in this particular property.
So you're maintaining the current,
Direction of
Elevation.
flow, so to speak?
excuse me?
Direction of stormwater flow?
Yeah, the lay of the land, I'll say that.
Yes.
Which is doing that, so, and the process of construction, you're maintaining that,
Correct.
Yes.
okay?
It's not going on to anyone else's property.
I mean, usually we have neighbors come and say, well, gee, I got water coming in the basement, and blah, 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 and
Right.
this is not, well, of course, there's no houses below it, but
Right.
the water might flow away from the neighborhood.
Right. No, it's a tough one.
Aaron? Oh, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Joe, so
Please.
you spoke with Mr. Sharples a few times about this, and he
I
said he
have-
still has
I have
concerns.
too, yes.
Okay, but we don't know if he's seen the revised plans, he didn't mention that either, right? I'm
Well,
concerned.
Christian said he has.
I mean, we submitted them
Well,
on the
he
8th of
submitted
November.
them, but we don't know what Dave had to say about them,
I talked to Dave around 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
and he didn't mention
Today.
them.
No, he's looked at
Didn't
everything,
ask
he's
that
looked at everything we
question.
have.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get.
Yes,
So
I-
was the question asked, or did it, okay, he didn't bring up anything,
He didn't say what he basically said was similar to what Jen just, I don't want to put words in the guy's mouth, but.
I'm not
You know what I
asking
mean?
you to.
I think
I'm
what
just
he,
trying to understand.
yeah, what I think he expressed was, yes, it's an improvement, and that's wonderful, and that's obviously a step in the right direction versus the existing condition, but we have a certain regulation to ensure that it's followed, and he didn't accept the argument in favor of granting waiver. He supported us not granting that waiver.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Without him here, you're
I know.
truly the only
No,
one.
I know. That's why I brought it up right away. Because
Yes, but that was an hour and a half ago, so I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I need a little refresher on
Sure.
what you had to say.
So do we need to wait 2 weeks on that?
It would, I think he thought it would take you about a week to put that together.
Well, with
With the
next
holiday,
week being the
probably.
holiday,
Yeah,
probably.
it would push you guys to probably the next meeting.
Yes.
Or, I mean, it would be a hard one to make it, I guess you could make it a condition of approval that it's done, but it's not done. So I've never really given that big of a condition.
I don't know that he'd feel comfortable having that on him.
No, I don't think so.
I think that would. be
Well, he
more
probably
than
would, I think, but as long as nothing changed. If what you're describing is accurate, that, hey, we were already adhering to what it's going to be, this is just going to be further due diligence evidencing that we've already designed this properly, then I would think he would be okay with that. If it was something where the work is done and, oh, wait, there's a bigger hydrology issue than we anticipated, things need to shift, then he may say he needs to bring it back to us. You know how he does that, right? So, you know, I mean, that would not make them come back to another hearing necessarily, right? But they would be required to do the engineering. So that's something we have to think about. I mean, you know, we're starting to stack those on this plan, right? Landscaping, issues like that, those are pretty basic. But you start to add a few, you start to get bigger, what you're putting together as conditions post-approval potentially, which isn't our typical, but we've done it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's definitely an improvement versus the existing site. There's
No
no
question about that.
debate
Yeah.
there. And the applicant's making significant, you know, but I honestly, and I might be wrong, I don't recall ever granting this waiver.
I don't request it.
As a board.
Remember it being requested.
That I can't recall.
I can't, you know, be sure.
But we haven't seen one.
Gwen, I don't think we ever had a
I don't
request like
recall.
this.
I don't recall it either.
I don't think we've seen one of this type of a waiver. Therefore, it's one of first impression.
It's always hard to go first.
I get kicked down the road all the time. It's not unusual.
And I think we need to wait for David.
I do too. I would
Wow.
prefer, but
Yeah, I would
that would be
feel better about
December
that.
7th.
It's 2 more weeks.
So what are you saying? You're not comfortable taking action on the waiver request? Really?
Well, it's got to be dealt with before we
Well, can we just
move ahead,
table?
I think.
Yeah, we
You can
just
table
it till
You
next.
can table
next
it.
Table
meeting.
until December
Can
7th.
Let all of us share in Dave's thoughts and
Now, are we going to ask the applicant to come in with anything more, or is his case been stated? And all we have to do is wait?
Yeah.
Because I'm a little concerned as to what more they're going to do. Now, maybe you, Jen, and you, Aaron, have an idea of what more should be done. I don't know, because I'm not smart enough to understand all of this.
Christian, you talked with
Well,
David
Christian, I
about
think, has
this?
described the process to us.
At TRC.
Okay.
Well, more Underwood engineers than David. I mean, he was at the table, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So you understand what he's looking for?
Well, I understand what the ordinance reads. That's what he's looking for.
I think right now we have two options.
That's
We can
correct.
table it,
Yeah.
or
Deny it.
we can deny the waiver request, in which case we can't approve the. Yeah.
Correct.
In which case they
Either
need
have
to
to
come back.
submit.
and
Yeah, they have to come back.
resubmit, yeah.
But what more are we asking for?
We're asking for the stormwater report.
An additional, in other words, no
They
report
haven't
has
done
been,
the storm.
no report has
That's why
been
they-
done,
That's correct.
Yeah.
and we're asking them to prepare
A report.
A
a
report is
report
required.
which is redundant to what they've
No.
already done?
It's not redundant. It's required. They're asking for. a
Oh, I
waiver.
understand it may be
We're asking for
required.
them
I get what
to
you're saying,
adhere
yeah.
to section 9.3.2 of the site plan review and subdivision regulation.
Yeah,
They
okay.
have not.
But
They have not done that.
All right, and what we're saying is that you better do it.
Well, I don't think we said that.
Well, all right, those are,
We said we think David thinks that.
Yeah,
and So
okay.
we
We'd like to hear
refer
from
to
David.
the guy we paid
Yeah.
and do
We
this.
would like to
Planner.
see the requirement met. That's how I would say it. But, yeah.
okay, all right.
I think what's being discussed, Pete, is I think the board is inclined to deny the waiver request.
Yeah,
But the
sense
board is also willing to table the waiver request to the next
Until
hearing
what?
so we can get direct input from Dave Sharples. There could be interaction between the applicant and the town planner and the town between now and then as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Could happen offline. They could just decide, you know what, we're just gonna do it in between and take the waiver off the table and present the stormwater plan
Yeah,
to
right.
us. They'd have more options that way, or we can just say we deny it and then they know they have to do it, period. You can put it to the bed or you can push it out.
Yeah.
That's what's in front of us as a board.
I think I understand.
That's it.
Okay.
Not that I necessarily concur, but I understand it.
Do you have a preference?
Do I have a
No, I'm
preference?
asking the applicant.
Yeah, I'll let the owner respond to that.
We'll table it and we'll talk to Dave again.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use the word again.
You prefer that we table it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
and we're gonna go back again, and we're gonna sit with Underwood Engineering again,
Yeah.
and they're gonna tell us what they want, and we're gonna do it again.
Okay.
And then I hope we're not in this position here again,
Well,
when we come back.
we've been
Because
more
we've done this,
comfortable.
we've
You
done this
are saying
repeatedly,
again, we
we've
aren't.
shown major reductions, major improvements. There's no abutters here opposing it, they're all completely for it. And for this thing here, that I feel that we're showing, and I understand it's a regulation, and I understand the regulations are new too, right? Or that they've started on this redevelopment thing.
Yeah.
That's maybe why you haven't seen them before, but maybe this is a good enough time
We
to
see a
look
lot
at
of
it.
stormwater management plans.
Right, but
Seen a
it's,
lot of them.
right, and-
Like every project this size, I've seen a stormwater
Yeah.
management plan. It's the first one I haven't.
with a 34% reduction,
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
it doesn't-
You're telling me that, you're doing calculations, but you're not showing me the stormwater management plan. Bottom
well, we
line.
are with the buildings. Look, we can argue all night.
No, there's a lot of stuff you're kind of showing me, and I get it, and I appreciate it, for sure. And the tone and tenure of the product is excellent, seriously.
Yeah,
You know, it's just,
Oh, we
we
thought so.
are charged with certain regulations.
I understand that you have to uphold.
Yeah, and
There's
some
a
of them
reason
are
why
more
you're
important than
voting.
others, right?
Yeah.
Like,
All
a
right, so-
25-foot buffer reduction, cutting the buffer zone in half, is a pretty significant waiver we just granted you, frankly.
Yeah.
Because if we don't grant you that, take a look at your project.
Well,
Changes significantly.
It's pushing and to become garage unders.
Yeah, right. And we recognize that.
Yeah.
We're helping,
No, and I
that's why we
appreciate
do
it.
waivers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Waivers like that, to me, make a ton of sense, because overall, why do you have the buffer zone, right? You're trying to create the separation, the protection, and what you're doing is significant for that, period.
All right.
And it makes it a better project,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
So
All right.
I think tabling's probably the best move.
And we'll get a hold of.
So I'm looking,
Dave.
Chairman's looking for a motion to table, please.
I move to table, do you want me to read the whole paragraph and just, is that how you do, okay. I move that we table the waiver for stormwater management for redevelopment standards to December 7th?
All right, so you need to read the paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah, please do.
After reviewing the criteria for granting waivers, I move that we table the request of Granite State Construction Services LLC, Planning Board Case 23-15, to December 7th. Is that enough? 2023.
I haven't seen
Looking at the face of Aaron, is that enough?
7 PM,
To 7 p.m.
town hall.
Did you
Or the location.
reference the section?
Yeah, you need to say.
And you
for-
reference the section. I would just suggest you maybe read what is written.
I'm trying without it. Okay. You want me
Sorry.
to try it?
Thank you.
Well, you want to do it? Why don't you do
I
it?
don't want to do it.
Well, it's easier. Just
I just want it done right. Okay, I'll read it.
That's right.
I can
Thank
read.
you.
I can read, thanks. Stormwater management.
Oh my God.
Stormwater management for redevelopment standards waiver motion. After reviewing the criteria for granting waivers, I move that the request of Granite State Construction Services LLC Planning Board Case Number 23-15 for a waiver from Section 9.3.2 of the site plan review and subdivision regulations regarding stormwater management requirements for redevelopment be tabled.
To December.
Do we need a
Let's do a
date?
date certain.
Date certain? December
7th,
December 7th,
7
p.m.
Okay, and I will second that, and I agree too. Thank you very much.
Moved to no discussion.
Enough discussion?
Yeah, really.
Discussion. Hand vote, please. Those in favor of the motion as read, raise your right hand. Those opposed, abstentions? Motion passes, so we are rescheduled. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Continue the hearing now? How does that work? Continue the hearing.
Oh, hold on.
We need to continue the hearing.
Oh, you just continued the waiver?
We just tabled the waiver.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, okay, I need a
Can we
motion to continue the meeting.
this hearing?
The only thing I would say with that is we probably should talk to the applicant for a minute because you're coming back.
Yes.
So let's take advantage of that time. Instead of having all these conditions, why don't we try to knock some of them off? So I'm going to tell you what I was going to require because I'm that kind of guy.
Is it in Dave's staff memo or no?
Condition,
these are
the
conditions
condition
that
I was going to require was that you add to the plan a 3-bedroom,
Oh, yes.
houses to be 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. What's your square footage?
Yeah.
What's your square footage? I'm asking, what is it per house? What do you want it to be?
4 of them are the same and one's different. I can't remember off the top of my head. I will.
Sam, do you
I
know?
will lay.
Honestly, I don't.
All right.
I gotta look at the box.
Bring it in your plan, please.
Yes.
Yep.
Jen, I think you should just give him that condition again. Or you heard it. You heard it if you listen to the tape,
the
right?
shrubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the trees and the
yeah.
fence.
Yeah.
You guys can adhere to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you discussed maintenance in that. Because I felt like there should be some kind of maintenance part of that. I know they probably will add
Well, that's gonna be in the
association and all that
contract.
stuff, right?
Documents, we
The
talked about
declaration.
fence maintenance.
Yeah, I think you should give us some evidence of that. If there is going to be, if you're going to come back with, I'm going to suggest if you're going to come back
With the fence in.
with the waiver still on the table from 9.3.2, that if you are going to be adding landscaping and that kind of stuff on your plan, it's probably a good idea to bring it, because that'll probably help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want them to think about while they're
Well, show
doing their
the,
other stuff?
show the,
fence?
the cedar fence.
Yeah,
on
show the
plan.
fence,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you can probably figure out how far you're gonna bring it. You can show it to us, right?
Did you have signage for the no-cut buffer? Was that already in your?
Placards are on there. Yeah, that was a condition. Well, not a condition. That was a
That was-
TRC recommendation from Kristen, and we have added that.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, she
Okay,
wants
now I
those
need a
up to
motion
50
to
foot.
continue this case,
Great.
please.
To December 7th.
To December 7th at 7 o'clock. So moved? Okay,
Second.
seconded? Just continue this case? I think voice vote's okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Opposite? Yeah, opposition. Abstentions? This is not that late yet. Okay, so that passes.
Okay.
But I did call the board, yes, okay.
Yes, you did.
All right.
All right.
Thank you,
In a couple
guys.
weeks. Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, application of Mario A. Point for a multi-family site plan review for the proposed construction of additional retail and residential units within existing structure located at 85-87 Water Street. Such property is located in the WC Waterfront Commercial Zoning District, tax map parcel 72-29, and the planning case 23-18. We do have some concerns about this case being ready.
I don't think the applicant's
Is he
here.
here?
I don't think the applicant's here.
I thought he gave someone an authorization to speak for him.
Someone here for this application?
Let me just
Should I
check out.
recuse myself, or am I, we
No,
okay, so we
no,
know, okay.
Then we need a motion to continue this case to December 7th.
Have we accepted it? We don't need to
No,
continue it.
no, we're going to continue.
We haven't accepted it. I don't think we continue.
Well, how do we have them on the agenda next week?
And they're just not here?
No one here.
So isn't that their problem?
Correct.
They love to get on the agenda? Why for all we know, they might need a month.
Well, apparently they're not ready yet to propose.
So let them get back with Dave.
All right, so we're moving right along, we'll forget that. Next is this application of Sheila M. Cornell and Donald G. and Carol J. Murray for a lot line adjustment to the common boundary line between properties at 78 Kingston Road and 74 Kingston Road. Subject property is located in R1, a low-density residential district, tax map parcel 79-28 and 97-29. I said 79, didn't I? They're both 97-28 and 97-29. Planning board case number 23-19. And I don't have any, well, we have notes from Dave, but again, I think we have an idea what we're talking about here. Fairly straightforward, so floor is yours, my friend.
All right. For the record, I'm Eric Sowry from Alton.
Oh, he's got a screen now.
I've got the screen.
Oh, beautiful. It's chocolate.
I know. I didn't know you didn't have swivel chairs. I'm sorry.
Next time, bring
The next time I'll bring some swivel.
Well, we'll talk to the management. Maybe they could have
There you
3
go.
screens around here, like sports bar.
I'm here on behalf of the applicants. Sheila Grinnell is with me, and Grant Murray. This is Sheila's house here, and this is the Murray's house. This is Sheila's piece here, and she's got a little over 7 acres, and Grant has about 1.16. And the plan is to take this little guy here, it's about 1 acre, and add to this piece, making the Murray's lot a conforming lot in terms of lot size. It's that simple.
That's why it's happening.
That's why it's happening. And to give you guys an idea, I should have started with this. This is Kingston Road here. Riverwoods is in the back. Pickpockets right here. And that's it. It's really, really simple. There's no road, no infrastructure, no nothing.
No stormwater plan?
Yeah. No stormwater. No, sir.
And no plans to build a 5-unit cul-de-sac.
The new plan on this one has to be
It's wet back there. It's not buildable.
Yeah, this is all wetland in here. This is a wet meadow. There's a little old farm pond in the middle, 2 islands of upland, and then it's more wet in the back. This is the pipeline, the gas pipeline, and then Riverwoods has their conservation land around the back in here. So that's what you see. There's pretty much what you can do with this. It's pretty easy.
Questions, concerns, thoughts, comments?
Why?
To
Why?
make it a
Why?
conforming lot.
He wants to run more,
It's a
more aggressive.
non-conforming lot.
I'd like a little bit more of an explanation of why and how this came to be.
Well, Grant wants to pick up some land. Sheila was kind enough to give it to him. That's it.
And can Grant confirm that?
Grant can confirm that.
I just want to, I've been a neighbor with Sheila for close to 20 years, and Fred in the area as well. I just basically want to be able to control my view. It's a beautiful piece of land. We've been working together for close to 20 years, cutting and mowing and sorting and clipping and everything else, and I just want to be able to have a little bit of control with that awesome view in my backyard.
He wants to buy the land before somebody develops it. See?
Well, it's not, it's
Whatever.
very,
It's not developable.
it's very wet.
Yeah, I don't think it's developable.
I've had her tractor stuck back there a few times, so the old tractor can contest to that as well.
Can't you get out with a bucket? That's what I do with mine.
Uh,
You lift up the front with a bucket.
With some neighbors' help, the tractor gets unstuck.
Well, as long as you raise some milkweed out there, I think I could support that. But anyway, any questions?
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me open this to the public. Someone in the public may have a comment. If you do wish to speak, come to the podium, so we know who you are, and the public at home knows who's speaking. Seeing none, then I'll close the public.
So your gavel. You're funny.
All right. Seeing no questions or anything, is anybody ready to make a motion?
Excuse me.
Yes, Pete. I'm sorry, are you back too? Yes.
Go ahead, you have it.
No, I was going to remind him that you were waiting.
All right, now what has happened here then is that with this, there is now a clear avenue to access 111. Is that correct? In other words, from all this properties back here that didn't have that access before, with this combined lot, there will be a direct access then.
From where, sir?
I'm concerned with the Riverwood. Well, I happen to live in Riverwood.
This is all conservation land, so Riverwoods can't.
I understand that, but that's still part of Riverwood's land.
Oh, it is, yes.
And that, as many of you may be aware, there's a considerable discussion at Riverwoods regarding the creation or the building of a significantly larger facility for healthcare. And part of the issue here is that the Woods property is not connected in any way with the Ridge and the Boulders property.
That's correct.
And this then potentially, but only potentially now, mind you, but it gives then the Riverwoods lot, then if something could occur, such as the Riverwoods could discuss and work with this enlarged piece of lot, a large piece of land, to find an access to 111.
They could do
The
that
Riverwoods
anyway.
lot.
They could do that anyway, because they don't need this piece to be added to Murray. This piece right now could connect both.
Yes.
They don't need this to happen at all.
Well, but there's no other way for Riverwoods to get access to 111.
Having looked at it, this piece right here, which is owned by the gas company,
Yes,
is also a potential candidate.
that's correct, but it has,
Well, what about Riverwoods Drive that already goes down there?
no.
He's referring to joining the parcels
I'm
through a
referring to the
consolidation.
joining of the parcel.
Well, I understand what he's saying.
Yeah. But as Riverwoods is not part of this application, they're not an applicant and they're not an owner here.
I understand that, but now they become on the butter.
They're in a butter now. This is
I mean,
Riverwoods.
well, yes, but not in the butter to 111.
Well, they touch 111 up here. There's a.
I know, but that doesn't permit them to, if you will, combine.
It might not, but it's not relevant.
Okay, I understand. I wanted just to be, the board to be aware
Yep.
that there is.
Pete's making an argument to be recused from this vote.
I'm not going to push that button here.
Okay, thank you.
I would say, Peter, all due respect, Riverwood's position changes zero, and this is two neighbors working together to make a non-conforming lot conforming, which is something that
That's true.
have zero. It would take a lot of arguing to get me not to be in favor of something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Riverwoods could buy this piece.
They could buy.
They absolutely could. They may. And it may go down the way you're saying, but that's not part of this application.
I understand.
And they could do it anyway.
They could do it anyway. Exactly, with or without this adjustment.
Right.
Thank you.
Other comments, concerns? Anybody ready to make a motion?
I am. I'm sorry, John, would you like to? I move that the request of Sheila Brunel, am I pronouncing that correctly? And Donald G. and Carol Murray, planning board case number 23-19 for lot line adjustment be approved.
Second.
No need for monumentations or something else?
There'll be 2 new lot corners that will be put out, that's it.
Yeah, you gotta do that little,
that's-
his
okay.
typical, we do need to do his typical conditions of approval. And he did suggest that we just say literally that.
Yes, yeah.
Typical conditions of approval. He's got us like whatever number of points, you know what I mean?
Submitted on.
The DWG and all that.
Yeah, okay.
We know the drill.
Yeah.
Do I need to withdraw?
That'll be in the letter, no.
I think you're
That'll
fine.
be in the letter that's sent to you and to the folks.
I know, right?
Read the vote.
Keep trying.
Okay.
You gonna vote? You're gonna vote?
Yes, we're gonna vote. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
You're good, okay.
I'm trying.
So those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Opposed, abstentions, passes. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Don't you wish you went first?
We love it because you brought all this public in. It's great. Yes, Pete, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Now, did I miss your vote?
Yes, you did.
Okay, I will correct
It was a
that.
no.
It was a no. 6 yes, 1 no.
Thank you.
Please correct the record.
Sorry.
Sudden, let's turn it into
I'm next, John. I can stay right here. It's great.
I'm trying.
No, it's all right.
It's
It's all right.
I know.
Okay. Now, anybody else here?
Actually,
Thank you. Oh, by the way, this is a good session.
Oh, really?
Are we, is there anybody here
Came to Riverwood.
for the sign really?
separate PDFs.
Yeah, Eric's sorry.
I don't, yeah, there might be other ones. I've never used this. Yeah, that's fine. I can use that.
Okay, order please. Order please.
Well, guys, could you go out of the room so we can keep going?
Bye, good night.
They can't hear. Okay, thank you.
Okay, next case is application of Singh Realty Group for an amendment to a previously approved site plan and wetland conditional use permit. Planning Board Case 22-9, Garupas Incorporated, for the proposed construction of a warehouse facility, parking, and associated site improvements on the property at 19 Continental Drive. Subject property is located at CT1 Corporate Technology Park, 1 zoning district, tax map 46-7-2, and it's Planning Board Case number 23-20. We're willing to open this case. Need a motion to open the case, please.
So moved.
Second.
Voice vote, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it. Okay, we're familiar with this lot. This is the 5th try.
This is the fifth try. I think this one's actually going to happen.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Should we hold our breath?
I was gonna say,
Don't jinx
Please
it.
don't.
don't jinx, yeah.
The floor is yours.
All right, for the record, I'm Eric Sard from Wallace Engineering again. I have Vicki Martell with me to talk about landscaping. I had Costas Plessis with me as well. He's the end user, CF Cold Storage. He had to go pick up his daughters at the airport. So he was hoping for a much quicker hearing at the outset of tonight. So, don't know if you guys know this, but Vicki and I sometimes give nicknames to projects. So this one started with Glyrips as Slippers. Hey, how's Slippers going? Are you working on Slippers? And of course, lo and behold, Barry Ryan from Glyrips came in with little mini slippers for you guys to look at. This one's cold storage for food. So we've been calling it fish sticks. But I did not bring fish sticks for you guys tonight, but I did think about it.
We had steaks.
It's a dog account. Okay.
I was going to either serve them up warm or just throw the box on the table. But anyway, can we go to the next one, please, my friend? Okay, you guys know where we're at. Continental's right here. This is 27 Epping Road. The piece has this long finger that has the frontage. This is the area that we're talking about here. It's accessed by an easement over this farm off of Continental. Can we go a few more slides down? Yeah. Two more. That one right there. Okay. This was the prior approval. It was a 95,000 square foot warehouse. Had truck access in the back here with a bunch of loading docks. Perimeter drive here to 75 parking spaces which is the front of the building, but it's really the back of the site with stormwater all the way around. So what we're looking at now is next slide. It's kind of the same, still got the same general layout where we've got circular flow around it. The size of the building drops to 76,500. All the parking on this side is gone, so this is just now the proper back of the building. We drop parking over here, and this becomes all loading docks. It's more truck intensive than employee intensive. It's a refrigerated warehouse, frozen foods warehouse, 50 feet high, it's just full of frozen foods. Frozen foods come in, frozen foods go out, pretty simple. Compared to the other plan, we dropped parking from 75 spaces to 31, so a huge drop there. We eliminated a rain garden on this side. We don't need it for stormwater anymore, which allows us to preserve some of this buffer between these two uses. Even though it's industrial, it's a little bit of a buffer. It's kind of nice. We dropped impervious surfaces by 9,000 square feet. Wetland buffer impacts were reduced by about 4,300. We dropped the wetland impact itself by 338 square feet. Total disturbance by 9,400. We killed a lot of retaining walls. The old plan had a long wall in here and a couple arms off of this one. This one also got a little shorter. And the steep slopes along here, those are also gone. So it's a much easier site to build. It's going to be a little more soft. Minor changes to utilities, lighting, and landscaping. We'll have to talk about landscaping later. And traffic was reduced by about 17 to 20%, depending upon the peak hour or the whole day. So all in all, it's better all the way around from a lot of the angles that we look at for a project like this. We did have to file an amendment with alteration of terrain at DES. Ridge responded with a few minor comments, mostly like, what the heck is this? So I told him, and he's got no issues moving forward, so we expect that amendment to be issued. Can we go to, let's see what the next one is. Grading. Same as it was before. Infiltration pond up here, which takes the roof, and a little bit of runoff off the top. Rain garden down here, which takes all this runoff down here, and we eliminated this one. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, nothing fancy. Next slide. Erosion control, again, we got rid of the steep slopes here. So that's a huge cost savings. 3-to-1 slopes, you can actually drive down it, so we can actually landscape those. Next one. Wetland buffers, as I said, we reduced the wetland buffer impact by 4,300 square feet, and we're able to save a little bit of wetland impact here and here for a total of 338 square feet of wetland impact, less than we had permitted. Next one. Utilities, essentially the same thing. Everything out here is already there. It's all been stubbed out to this lot as part of the industrial park when it was built. We're just carrying that in onto the site, ending right there. Really simple. Next one. Lighting. Now, Dave Sharples reminded me about lighting, and this was a conversation that, after speaking to him, I recall from the prior hearing, and that was lighting around the perimeter. So if we go to the next slide, I took the liberty between this submission and now to really reduce the lighting around this edge here. So all the big poles are gone. All we've got are little lights at the emergency exits, and that's it. So that's going to be a lot less lighting for the adjacent wetlands, so we think that's going to help. Let's see, let's go to the next one. Okay, go down a couple more. Keep going. Details, details, keep going. One more, I think. Oh, no, one more. There we go. Let's make a shot. And then we'll take questions.
Thank you. I'm Vicki Martell from Woodburn & Company Landscape Architecture. So the plan for the landscape, this plan is very similar to what you saw before that was approved. I've used the same trees, the same species, and relatively the same locations. We're just adapting it. So we've got some columnar maples on the back side of the building. On the front side in that island, there are some hawthorns in there. Those are the smaller circles. There are hawthorns instead of shade trees because we've got light poles to contend with. We want those to play nicely together. And then the rest of the shade trees are a mix of disease-resistant elms, red oaks, and black tupelo. So the same planting palette from the previous submission, just adapted to this site.
That's it in a nutshell, guys. So not a huge departure from what it was before, slightly different in terms of use, but lower traffic and lower impact. So questions, concerns, combinations?
Get the words right out of my mouth.
I have 2 questions.
Go ahead, Jen.
Thank you.
Let me guess, they're for her, not me, right?
One's for her,
Oh,
one's for you.
all right, I feel included. This is great.
Since you're standing,
Yeah, all
I will
right.
ask you the question first. So I pulled up the old plan earlier today. I was just kind of comparing them, and I noticed one thing that drew my attention was that you have snow storage along the south,
Yep.
kind of going right into the wetland.
We had that before, but can we go?
You didn't have that, so
I
that's
didn't?
what I checked. I was like,
Can you use your pointer to show?
She's talking about right in here, right there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can take that off. I thought we had it there before, but if it wasn't, that's my
So
mistake.
you can take it off the plan, but what can we do something to prevent? I mean, we all know the plow driver's not going to have the plan in front of him, and that's going to be the lot. That's a
Yes.
huge amount of pavement for that loading dock.
Right here, we had some signs that said no snow dumping.
Right.
We can add them down in here as well.
I think, yeah.
It's actually going to be difficult for snow removal. This whole side has a guardrail.
No, it doesn't.
It should.
I thought it only partially.
There's a guardrail on the northern
'Cause I think if
or
it's-
western edge.
Can we go back like almost to the beginning?
Yeah, if we could pull
All right.
up that plan, I think that.
Not that one, black screen.
One shows the snow.
Keep going.
C1?
Okay, that one's got guardrail.